Welcome to DAS012Dymaxionlrgqt. This week we're sponsored by Emeco and by Neocon Express. And my name is Eames Demetrius, and I'm the proprietor of DAS012Dymaxionlrgqt. And each week we do different kinds of things on design, architecture, and sustainability. And this week we're doing a little vignette on the Dymaxion House, which was designed by Buckminster Fuller. And I recently had occasion to see it because it's at the Henry Ford Museum. It's actually been rebuilt inside the museum, and it's available for tours. And so I walked through it, and afterwards I'll talk to you about why its situation is especially appropriate today. So now let's take a look at the Dymaxion House. So here it is in the Great Hall at the Henry Ford Museum, the only one of its kind. And they've done a nice installation. You get to walk through it. You do need to go with a docent, so you wait a little bit, and then they take you through. And it's a little bit like you're at the display facility of the Beech Aircraft Corporation. And Beech Aircraft was Buckminster Fuller's partner in this. And they were all trying to deal with the post-war housing shortages that happened after World War II when GIs were coming back, and there weren't really, after all the war effort, there weren't really places for them to live and work. And Fuller had this design he'd been working on in the 20s, but he didn't really complete it until 1945. But it was perfect for Beech Aircraft because he used a lot of the same materials, the kind of woods, the kind of the aluminum, and even the skill sets of the factory workers to create houses for people like them. They figured if they could, make about 6,000 of these a year, it would solve a really important social problem. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work out because there's a falling out between Fuller and Beech Aircraft. Only 2 prototypes were ever built, and one of the investors in the company actually bought the 2 of them, 2 prototypes, and put them together and actually lived in it with his family from 1948 till the 70s.
You don't need your wall to hold your house up, so this was his get-out-of-o closet, which there would have been 3 of in the house. 1 in the foyer, so you could put your hats and your coats, 1 in each bedroom. Material on here is plywood, exactly the same as the floor. It was airplane plywood, so easy to take care of. He designed this bathroom. He patented it. He made 6 of them. It has a 5-foot bathtub with a shower. Shower's over on this side.
Okay.
A hole in the wall so mothers could give their babies a bath and it wouldn't hit their head on a faucet. Actually, it's like a radiant heat, so you could steam it up in there, slam the door, and it's going to clean itself. And it's
You're
portable.
kidding.
It's portable. This is his famous ovalving shelves. We call this ovalving because they go all the way down and around like a big O, 8 to a side. 1 set in each bedroom, give you a total of 16 drawers, which meant you did not have to take up room with a dresser. Mood lighting, change it and you feel warmer and cooler.
And what's really nice about it is that the house is kind of very space age looking, but he obviously gave as much thought to the living experience and the human side of it as the technology, which is pretty amazing. This is the central mass, and this is where all the support happens. The name of the house comes Dymaxion, dynamic maximum tension, which were Buckminster Fuller's among his favorite words. And so this mass really embodies that, and the ability, it kind of spreads like an umbrella. And it's a way to really deal with the key feature of it, which is that it's round, which is more efficient in terms of heating and materials, and yet obviously poses a bunch of other problems from the standpoint of traditional construction.
A plastic so it don't rust, green comes down.
The whole building would actually flex and change during a tornado. And what she's showing here is that you can actually slide the panels up and down to kind of make a sort of window experience. And then of course the kitchen was quite cool. Even there's a refrigerator that's on 3 different levels. One of the wonderful things about it is that Fuller was obviously willing to rethink everything as he designed the house. Unfortunately, they were hoping to build 6,000 of these a year, and there's only this one here, which makes it very moving in a way, but also incredibly important. I believe the issues of prefabricated housing, the opportunity to make a house affordable and livable and sustainable become really important as we all try to figure out how to live on what Bucky did call Spaceship Earth. So that was a glimpse of the Dymaxion House, and it's again, it's one of these great things that museums can be so good at, and that Henry Ford is so good at, which is to give you a visceral experience, to let you actually see something for yourself. And as you know, we went around there. There was a docent who was telling us stories about it, and I enjoyed hearing them. But what I really liked was the feeling of being inside it and seeing it for myself, because it's actually a very important house in the history of prefabricated housing. It wasn't successful, but that's important also. But it was kind of mind-boggling to me to learn that it was designed so it actually flexed in certain ways during tornadoes. The use of aluminum, the use of collecting rainwater, some things like the evolving shelves. You know, it seemed were neat, but I'm not sure how practical they were. But other things like the spinning closet, I thought, wow, that's a pretty cool solution, and a new way of using the flexibility that was gained by having the structure come in the way that it did. So it was just a great thing that they had. And the reason I said it was appropriate where it was is that it was across the hall from the lounge chair exhibit. And Charles and Ray Eames and Bucky Fuller were very good friends. And Charles would often sort of say to himself that sometimes he would say, you know, what would Bucky be thinking about now, you know, and to kind of help himself think out of the box. And Buckminster Fuller is best known, of course, for the geodesic dome, but he was a thinker. He was a leader in the whole concept of the idea of spaceship Earth, and that we really had to take care of our environment, yes, but even on a bigger scale, the whole planet as a community and a group of people. And so I think people are really finding that message resonates even more today. So I encourage you to learn more about his work. And actually, the Henry Ford is going to have a whole exhibit about the relationship between Fuller and Isamu Noguchi. I think that's going to be happening in the fall. So come back next week for DAS012Dymaxionlrgqt, and I hope you'll tell your friends about us. We're still growing, we're still starting, and I've got a lot of neat things on the plate. Thanks very much.